Hi, Paulina. My name is Ellen, and I will be correcting this set of essays for you. Let's take a look and see what you wrote. The bar chart illustrates the frequency of annual bird flu cases in the whole world in the period of 10 years. Overall, the the numbers of bird flu casualties dramatically increased over the first 7 years of the given period. Then they remained stable for the last 4 years of that period. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Let's keep going, see what you wrote. According to the information provided by the World Health Organization, comma, the lowest rate of flu cases, not, don't know if that's necessarily what they mean. We just call it bird flu, and people get it too. The lowest rate of bird flu cases was seen in 1990 and 1991. Okay, we don't say and was equal. Instead, we would say was seen in 1990 and 1991 at 122,000. Okay, that would have been fine. Or and was 122,000, but I don't really like that. I prefer just at. Really, it's cleaner and it just gets the point across perfectly. The next year, the number of flu casualties rose up. Well, careful. They didn't rise up to 10,000. They rose up by 10,000. There's a difference. So if they were 122,000 and they went to 132,000, then they rose by 10,000. Okay. If they rose to 10,000, then it was lower than 10,000 and it reached 10,000. That's not what's happening here. So they rose up by 10,000 to 132,000 the year after. Okay, you keep spelling then wrong. And the reason why it's a problem is because it's a different word. And so it completely changes the meaning of your sentence. Then, with an E, the number of global bird flu cases increased gradually in the next 4 years until they reached the peak of 175,000 in 1997. After 1997, comma, the amount of bird flu casualties reached, not has reached, a plateau and remained stable in the next 4 years. Remained stable in the next 4 years. I don't understand this. Remained stable in the next 4 years. That's it. Get rid of the rest of it. It doesn't make sense. And then, you know what? This could be in the same sentence. So they remained stable in the next 4 years while the numbers insignificantly varied between 173 and 175,000 casualties. All right, this is, I mean, it's accurate. Okay, there were some problems that made it a little inaccurate in some places, but on the whole, it was okay. You had an overview. Your overview was fine. It felt a little short. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. I'm going to ask you not to answer the question directly in the email, but instead, I'm going to ask you to put it in a Word document. And there are two reasons why. Number one, I can do a word count because this did feel rather short to me. That's the first reason. The second reason is I also want you to include the image. I often refer to the image in my corrections, so it's very helpful if you can just copy and paste it and just put it in the Word document, okay? So that's one thing. Like I said, it did feel short. Now I realize that it's rather challenging when you have one of these charts that doesn't really give you a lot of information to work with, but these do happen occasionally, and so it is important to know how to kind of stretch these out, how to extend them. Okay, and together I would like to, see you working on that a little bit, making connections, making comparisons to the different numbers and so forth. Let's see. So one place where maybe you could have increased a little more. So you talked about 1990, 91. Then you talked about, right here, look, the number increased gradually in the next 4 years. Now, you don't really have a ton of information to talk about here. So what you could have done instead of just kind of like glossing over that 4 year period is you could have talked about it a little more specifically. You could have talked about the incremental increase that occurred every 2 years. Okay? You could have talked about that. You could have used some figures. So you do need to stretch these out a little bit. That doesn't always happen with task one. A lot of times you have to really consolidate. But like I said, there are occasions when this is necessary. All right, so let's move on to your task two now about staying in the same job or switching jobs. It is argued that working in the same position for, this should be one's, one, the word one apostrophe S, for one's whole life is the only career path, while the opposite opinion is that people should change their working position throughout their life several times. I partly disagree that staying in the same job may satisfy workers for a lifelong time. In my opinion, frequently changing careers gives better career development opportunities. All right, that's lovely. Yeah, and I like that you partly disagree. That's good. You had really good punctuation here. I was so excited that you used a semicolon well. Believe me, it's rare. So it's exciting to see that you did that correctly. Okay. On the one hand, staying in the same job is almost impossible nowadays for some reasons, and it becomes rather an exception. This is spelled wrong though, be careful. An exception than common path. Careful with your spelling for businesses. Many businesses could not last. This is awkward. You said it somewhere else too. You don't say lifelong time. Here, you said it here. So I think you want to say many businesses could not last a lifetime. It's one word, lifetime. Okay. Because the technological progress affects jobs and some workers are no longer needed. So you need an ED here and you're missing an O. For example, after traffic lights were invented, no the here, traffic controllers lost their jobs. So no the and no the. Even to fulfill the job set, get rid of the again here. Even to fulfill job satisfaction for more than 40 years, you don't need a comma, and then here you need an S. Even to fulfill job satisfaction for more than 40 years requires the passion, and not many workers could say that they have that passion for the job. Okay, again, there's some things happening here, primarily with your thes, okay? Your articles are problematic. I've seen now several mistakes with articles, and so it becomes kind of distracting, okay? So this last sentence, although I like what you're trying to say, it was awkwardly posed, and so we need to change it around a little bit. So you could have said, furthermore, not to fulfill job satisfaction, but furthermore, to have job satisfaction for more than 40 years requires passion, and not many workers could say that they have that passion for their job. So that's how I would change this to make this better. This is nice. I liked your example of the traffic controllers. I thought that was a good example. Maybe here you could have added another sentence. So not many people have that passion. Okay, well, can you give me an example? Can you tell me something more about that? Can you explain what you mean? Are you just wrapping things up? Because you said that there are some reasons. You said that technological progress or workers are not needed. And then here you've got this idea about passion, but then you don't go into any detail about it. You don't explore it. Maybe you should have, okay? Because you left it kind of just like unexplored, okay? Okay. On the other hand, switching jobs gives positive effects to employees in several ways, such as payment rise. Okay. All right, fine. Pay rises is what we usually call them with British English, pay rise, and skill development. According to HR specialist reports, okay, no S here at specialists. According to HR specialist reports, comma, it is easier to find a position with a higher salary than to receive the same internal salary rise. Good. Furthermore, employers without the are willing to pay more to newcomers with one E when they are desperate, careful with your spelling, to fill up the required positions and keep the productive workers in the positions they are already in. Spell required right. Instead of providing opportunity for promotion, know the inside the company. All right, so you can see again, a lot of problems with articles. So let me show you what this should have sounded like. Furthermore, employers are willing to pay more to newcomers when they are desperate to fill required positions and keep productive workers in the positions they are already in, instead of providing the opportunity for promotion inside the company. Okay? That is why workers prefer to seek new jobs to receive a higher salary. Also, many companies provide complimentary educational courses for new employees, and this attracts people to master their new skills and keep their knowledge up to date. T-E, not Y. Okay, we'll talk about this in a minute. In conclusion, even though staying, in the same work position is possible, this is not the best choice for workers, I think. Often changing job provides the significant improvements for employees. Get rid of the, allowing them to maintain new skills and get the salary benefits. All right, get salary benefits and not maintain, but gain new skills. All right, so I liked a lot of this, but there were absolutely problems with articles. They proved problematic for you throughout the essay. As I said, it was a little distracting. I want to look at how cohesive this essay was. So what did you tell us? You said that you partly disagree that staying in the same job, can satisfy workers for a lifetime. Okay. And then, so you partly disagree. So this paragraph is talking about how staying in the same job is impossible, right? And then you give us a couple of examples about passion and about like technology and how some jobs change. And so you can't stay in them your whole life. So here you're talking about how staying in the same job is impossible. And then here you're saying how important it is to switch jobs, right? Because you get more money, they pay newcomers better, higher salary, educational courses, etc. So it sounds to me like the whole essay actually supports the idea of switching jobs. Nowhere does it really support the idea of staying in the same job, which then makes me ask, well, then why do you say that you partly disagree? It sounds to me, based on what you wrote, like you completely disagree. So, or just you disagree. So I disagree that staying in the same job can satisfy workers. I mean, maybe that would have been better, because when I saw I partly disagree, I expected to see a paragraph where you supported the reasons why somebody may want to stay in the same job, but your stronger paragraph, the one with more detail, would talk about why switching jobs is important. So maybe you want to be a little more careful with the way you word your position, because the way you word your position really needs to be a mirror. It needs to be a reflection of what you do in your body paragraphs. Okay. So that's more or less the feedback for this, Polina. I'm looking forward to seeing your next essays. I really want to see you working on articles. They're definitely an issue. And let's see if we can make this a more cohesive essay in the next set. Okay, looking forward to it. Good luck.